This is Meet the Owner, where business stories come to life with your host, Stephen Dryden-Hall. Let's go, people.
Welcome to Boom7. We've got an amazing guest today, and I think maybe 25 years ago I heard this man sing, and I bumped into him a couple of times over the years. Alvin Printwhistle, who does a lot of wicked Elvis singing and comedy too. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, how are you? You won't remember that gig. It was sort of 25 years ago.
I've done a few since then.
You have, yeah. So, how did you get into singing? What was the first time? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember. The first time I got into singing was when I was 12.
12?
Yeah, I was 12, and I was an Elvis fan even back then. Mum liked Elvis, you know. So I was at California Cliffs Holiday Park in Great Yarmouth.
Mate, I've just been to Great Yarmouth. Yeah.
Have you?
Is it still there?
I think so.
It's
yeah.
probably renamed a few times.
I haven't been there for many years, but I was just a young lad on holiday with a family, you know. And there was a fella sort of playing the organ, you know.
The organ.
The organ
Yeah.
was in it. And he had you won't remember this, you'll be far too young, but they used to wear velvet jackets and frilly shirts and a big bow tie, you know. And so he's playing the organ and that. I thought, God, I'd like to, and he's singing these songs. I thought, I'd like to have a little sing, you know. And so I did. I said, can I have a song with you, mate? You know, type thing. My parents were saying, you go, you know, egg you on, don't they?
Yeah.
So I went and I remember I sung Teddy Bear and Are You Lonesome Tonight. I remember singing them two songs, and everybody clapped and cheered. I knew it sounded like a zoo burning down, but they all cheered. I thought, I like this, you know.
A zoo burning down, did you say?
Yeah. So So I mean, I'm a performer, aren't I? You know, I'm an egotistical chap, really.
So go to school now. So at school, what were you like as a kid?
Well, in my class, you know, in the average class, there's probably 30 children, and two show-offs, you know, and I was one of them. You know, I make no bones about that. I'm not a big head. There's a difference between being a show-off and a big head.
Yeah.
You know,
So was the other kid a big head?
No, he was my mate. He was a show-off.
Oh, was he? Show-off.
And we, I think it was because I used to I loved drama and theatre arts. You know, I was going to be an actor.
Okay.
That was what my dream was to become an actor. You know, and so you know, my school memories really of just sort of acting up really. And we used to do drama on a Friday afternoon, and you know, and I'd do some little plays and make them funny. And
what film or actor did you love back then?
Well, I was always into James Bond.
Oh, you always will talk about that. Yeah.
James Bond was my every boy's hero at that time.
Which James Bond? I mean, I don't want to say back in the day, but I'm going to say back in the day. That's the timber comment. Get you back. Yeah. What James Bond were you? Who was your?
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yeah.
I've got a story about Sean Connery. Do you want to hear it?
Come on then.
So my nan went on a double date with her friend. She was going to a dance back in the day. And she said, "Oh, can you come along?" She was like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." She's quite dry-witted. She was like, "Okay, you better be nice." So turned up, and this guy, spotty, not much personality. And at the end of the date, she didn't really like him. Sean Connery.
Really?
My nan blew out.
Sean Connery.
It's
strange, really, because this, Boom7 is about business, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
The foundation stone is business.
Yes.
And when I was at California Cliffs Holiday Park, and I enjoyed the singing, and we used to go and watch the James Bond films, you know, my dad used to take me. And back in them days, so the first one to come out would have been Dr. No.
Yeah.
And then when the second one came out, which was From Russia with Love, back in the day, they showed the two together. So you'd have watched the first one, you know, last year, and then this year you'd be watching, and they play them back to back type thing. And for me, James Bond was like a bit of a benchmark, and this is where it comes to in my business, right?
Yes.
Because we used to go to Great Yarmouth, you know, on holiday. You know, in fact, we used to go down to Margate, Ramsgate, Deal, Dover. You know,
all down the bottom. Yeah,
camping. You know, and my parents always gave us a holiday, but we didn't have a lot of money, you know, and I remember saying to my dad, when we get there, will the sea be like in the James Bond films? You know? And he said, no, not really.
Yeah.
I said, oh, okay, you know. So I was expecting the Bahamas,
Glamour.
Greece, Nassau, all this kind of stuff that they show.
So you're selling the dream, right? All these beautiful locations.
Yeah. This what's in the Bond films, you know. And then I'd go and we go and see another one, and I say, well, them shoes he was wearing, I like them shoes. I like a pair of them. They're patent leather, and you have to earn a lot of money to buy patent leather shoes.
Yeah.
And I said, that car that he drives, that's an Aston Martin. Yeah, that's an Aston Martin. I said, I like one of them as well. And he said, if you work hard, son, you'll be able to have them things.
And was your dad positive?
He was a positive man. Yeah. But he was a good dad, but he always worked for somebody else.
Yeah, okay.
So, and I remember him coming home with a brown pay packet, laying the money out on the kitchen table and paying for the gas, the electricity, putting it all in little piles, And I thought to myself, when I grow up, I want to be able to do them things, And we were going to Yarmouth, and I said, will the sea be like in the James Bond films, I think he'd had enough by then. He said,
Every year.
be just like it,
Yeah.
Well, obviously it wasn't. But for me, it gave me, I don't know, sometimes you see people, they're in their office saying they've got a picture of a Porsche, and they're doing a sales job or whatever. And that's their target, So my target was paint leather shoes, Aston Martin, and going to the Caribbean.
So let's just talk about this, because I think about 15 years ago, we had a chat, didn't we? We bumped into each other, and I said, oh, did you get the Aston Martin? He was like, yes, I have. Because you told me, you said, my dream is to have an Aston Martin. Yeah. You didn't mention the shoes. So you had something to...
I've got 3 pairs of patent leather shoes.
Have you got 3 now? And are they comfortable?
Lovely.
Are they the
very
nuts?
Nice, yeah.
So that's cool. So what's your view on vision goals and vision boards? Because that's kind of a vision board in a sense that you knew you wanted the beach, you knew you wanted the car and the shoes. I think
my dad was great, he was a wonderful parent, my mum and dad were great parents, but I think because he couldn't take us to them places, and they were the places that I saw, that was the car that I saw. I thought, he said to me, work hard and you can have it, When I let's go to the end of my school career, when I was staying on to do my A-levels, and all that kind of stuff, I wanted to be an actor, and I was actually accepted. It's called Arts Ed now, but it used to be called Downley Lodge in Tring, near Aylesbury. And my drama teacher thought I was really good, put me forward, and I got a place at Downley Lodge. But my parents took me out of it. They said, look, there's more actors out of work than there are in work.
What was that noise? It's like the start of a film.
I don't know. It sounds like something's going to happen.
Did you break your leg?
Yeah.
Oh.
No. How exciting.
Isn't it? What's next?
They
talked you out of it. Why did they talk you out of it? What was their point?
Because he wanted me to have a career. He wanted me to be like a hospital administrator or something like that.
So what did your dad and mum do? Did your mum have a job?
My dad was in engineering. My mum was a manager in the newsagents.
Okay, so they both worked.
Yeah, they both worked, but my dad didn't earn lots of money. He was in a sort of just a job. All my friends, I think my friends' dads were earning £100 a week, and my dad's was earning £80 a week. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So it was like, and some of them were going to Butlins,
and
Pontins. Well, we couldn't afford Butlins and Pontins.
Well, they sell the dream. So on their adverts, you're like, oh my God, that looks amazing. And I've been to Butlins a couple of times.
I used to work to
probably not quite the same as the thing on TV. So, going back to the sort of glam piece. But all right, so they talked you out of it because they wanted you to have a proper job, right?
A proper job.
Yeah, proper
not
job.
An actor, but I was already playing guitar.
Okay.
At that time. I started having, basically what happened there was, very quickly, one of my friends at school said, oh, we're playing at the community centre this week on a Friday. Do you want to come and see the band?
Okay.
I said, yeah, I'll come down and see you. And the band were quite good. They were playing sort of funk jazz and that, really good. This singer, and yeah, that was good. At the end of it, all these girls were stood round them. And I thought, I could do that. So, that following Monday, I went to school and I said, right, boys, we'll start a band. Graham, what can you play? He said, well, I fancy the drums. I said, go on then. Yeah. My mate, he played guitar. He was having guitar license. We learned 3 chords. And off we went, and I started, again, I sound like a zoo bunny now, and I was 14.
Yeah. 14, started a band.
Started a band, yeah. So I was always, I was always arty, if you like. Not painting, but, showing off, playing guitar in a band.
Just another
singing.
level, right?
Yeah, another
I'll
level.
get more attention here.
Yeah. Could be an actor, get out there and, I mean, I've done a little bit of acting, but the musical career is really what's really taken me forward, I guess.
So every day, were you listening to music at the time when you were 12, 14? Were you
Yeah. I was mainly listening to Elvis,
Yeah.
but when I was 14, it was the birth of glam rock. So we had Mark Bolan, we had Slade, Mud, Shawaddy Waddy, Alvin Stardust.
Yes.
He nicked my name. So we had all those people, and it was great music, and of course they're still playing. So Here It Is, Merry Christmas,
Yeah, still going, right?
It's still going, and that's one of the big songs at Christmas for us,
So what sort of jobs were you doing? So when you were younger, so did you have some jobs on the side?
Yeah, I did. Let's talk about work. So I wanted to be James Bond.
Yeah.
I did actually, when I did go and work in the Falklands, performing in the Falklands, and we flew around in helicopters. And,
oh, wow.
I was sick every time, so I thought, I'm never going to be James Bond at this rate. But anyway, what was the question?
The question is, what jobs? When you were
jobs,
younger, young man.
So when I was at school, okay, I'm going to go back even further.
Yeah, go for it.
So remember, I've said to you that, when I was 11 and 12, I was watching the James Bond films, and so I used to think, well, I'll get some money together. So at that time, there's a lot of building work going on where I lived, and the new houses were going up. And there was lots of offcuts of wood and that. So me and my mates used to go and collect the wood up, and we'd tie them on the back of our go-kart, and I'd go and sell them to the old ladies for their fires in the houses, because they had coal and wood fires.
On the back of your cart?
On the back of the cart, yeah.
Genius.
Shit in a bundle, or tuppence a bundle, or whatever.
So you knock on the door?
Yeah. So
Hiya.
Would you like some firewood? Yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah, all right, darling, they go, and we'd sell them the firewood.
Did you know what price? Because there's a thing, isn't there, price
No,
point?
I didn't, I just made it up.
You just said, can I have whatever it was?
Yeah, we'd tie them up in little string bundles.
Yeah.
Like kindling, really, I guess, because the wood was, we'd obviously, my dad let me use claw hammer, and, I'd pull the nails out.
And that was your idea?
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. We got a loft conversion during lockdown. I said, what are you doing with that wood? He was like, we just put it in a skip. So I made some planters.
Yeah.
5 years later, which is now,
they're starting.
No, they are effed. So we had to get them done properly. But I got 5 years out of it.
Right, okay.
So I don't know if that's an entrepreneurial thing of like not wasting.
I think that in business there are people that do and those that don't.
Yeah, of course.
And you have to be a shepherd. You can't be the sheep.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. My dad was a sheep. He went to work, and he earned £80 a week.
Yeah.
And he knew that what he was going to take home was £80 a week.
That's it.
If he needed £85 a week because he wanted to take me to see James Bond and have some chips afterwards and buy me some sweets, he would have struggled to have done that.
Yeah.
Whereas as far as I go, one of my mates. In recent years, actually, as a coach driver, and he used to do some sound for me.
Okay.
And
what, just make random noises, or?
yeah. Sound, yeah. Sound engineer. You have engineers. You have proper people do that. You know. So
we don't.
No.
There he is.
He was doing some sound for me.
Yeah.
But his job was a coach driver, and he was a good coach driver. He's still driving a coach today. And he said, tomorrow I'm working for, he's working for a company, what sort of name knows it, and tomorrow I'm going to be driving this coach, it's the new one, it's a great one. I had to drive the old one last week, but, I go there and I drive this and I love it in return. I said, it's brilliant, and he said, about me, because you drive, you could always get your job if you want to do it. I said, to be honest with you, I said, it sounds very interesting, but I wouldn't want to be the coach driver. I'd want to own the company.
Yeah. And that was back in the day, or?
No, this was in recent years, probably the last 20 years or so. Yeah.
And you've always wanted that?
I've always wanted to own the company, but it's what I've said before, there's risks. You get downtime, when the pandemic hit, that's a year. The hospitality industry got whacked left, right and centre. And obviously, some of my musical colleagues were selling their instruments to pay their mortgages, fortunately, you know, for me, I, you know, put some for a rainy day.
Yeah, the big rainy day.
And we got through, you know.
So the first few jobs then, what did you start doing?
So then, what happened then? So I was working. So basically, I've been selling firewood.
Yeah.
And then my mum was the manager of the newsagents, so she got me a job ripping up boxes. You know, when the stuff come in the boxes.
It's all wood related, yeah.
No. These are cardboard boxes.
Right, okay.
Now. So you tear them up and put them in the disposable bin.
Yeah.
And I do 3 days a week. I got 10 and 6. 52.5.
I don't even know what that means, but yes.
52.5 pence.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah, for 3 days.
Yeah.
And the person that owned the shop said, "Well, look, if he when he gets we'll put him in the shop." So I started working in the shop, you know, after school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then because I'm into music, we had a music shop open up in where I lived. Went down there on a Saturday afternoon, got chatting to the guys that owned it there. Went in there, sort of bought an amplifier off them. My dad bought for me on tick, and I paid him back with the money I was earning.
Yeah.
I was now in the 6th form at school.
Yes. Studying drama or?
I was doing history and English. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Totally different. Yeah.
Totally different. How did you find that? Did you enjoy that?
I love history.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
okay.
I love history.
Yeah.
English, we did English literature, so it's pretty good. You know, Shakespeare, Milton, you know. So I got a job as the Saturday boy in a music shop, and I was working in the music shop selling instruments and that.
Did you love that?
I loved it. Yeah. And then when I left school, they said you can come and work with us full time in the shop.
Okay.
Selling musical instruments. So the English and history sort of qualifications you need to go into some kind of academic.
Yeah.
You know, like a hospital administrator or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's what my dad envisaged. I started working in a music shop, you know, and I was good at selling.
Well, no surprise.
Yeah, I was good. Not, you know, I didn't get in a headlock and, you know.
No, you could chat. You chat to everyone, right?
Yeah, so I was quite good at selling, and then they made me assistant manager of a shop they had in Oxford, so I went over there. And then after that, the manager left, and I became the manager of that shop.
Yeah.
I was 18.
Wow, 18.
19, just come up 19
yeah,
when I became the manager of that shop.
So good for its time.
Yeah.
But you had bigger plans in your mind already?
Yeah, I mean, I got headhunted from that job. Basically what happened, the two partners kind of split up. Okay. And the shops were closing the shops down, and they had a few issues with different things. Not anything to do with me. I was making them money, you know.
Yeah,
but
of course.
They had 3 shops at the time, and they were taking money out of mine to support the other 2, you know.
Okay.
So I got headhunted by another guy that I knew as a newsagent. He said, "Would you come and manage my newsagents, florists and greengrocers?" Which I did, doing quite well there. He got himself into trouble for another business that he had, and so at that time I was thinking, right, okay, I need to do something else because it's not gonna last here.
No, of course.
And my mate that I played with in the band was a guitarist,
yeah.
You know. But in the day, so I was playing in the band. Told you I was playing in the band.
Yeah, of course.
So in the day, he was a plasterer. That was his day job. He said, "Well, come and do some knocking up for me. Do a bit of labouring." And so I went and did that for sort of 4 or 5 years, and then I was on the trail, like, you know. I was, you know, and so
that's kind of
this
normal.
is all
It's like a normal.
Yeah, this is all about business, right?
Yeah, of course.
So back in the day, I'm talking now 1985, 86, that kind of period.
Oh, 6, yeah.
Yeah. I was earning between £80 and £100 a day on the building.
Okay.
Good money.
Good money, yeah.
£400 or £500 a week. We did an audition with a band to go and do a summer season.
Oh, wow.
Right.
You're getting excited now.
I'm getting excited, yeah. So we go and do this, what we call a showcase in our business, where people come to see you. Yeah, we want that band. The agent we were working for said, "I'm going to give you 5 nights." So on them 5 nights, I'd be earning between £50 and £60 a night. A little bit less than I was earning on the building. Yeah. But I was living my dream.
Fun.
Yeah, I was playing in the band. I was doing it professionally. Yeah. I was doing Butlins, Pontlins. We was doing all the holiday parks, you know. We were doing hotels, we were doing military, just go to the Falklands, 6 weeks in Germany, 4 weeks in Northern Ireland.
So what sort of music were you doing then?
We were doing 60s music, harmonies.
Yeah, okay.
You know, the Beatles, the Hollies, the Searchers.
Yeah.
But my show, if we had a problem or something go wrong, I'd just joke with the audience. Someone broke a string, I'd put that string on, I'd talk to them.
Well, this is why you're different, because comedy comes into your shows,
this is
isn't
where
it?
it came in.
Yeah.
And I remember we was doing a gig over in Luton, and this guy was a bass player in another band. He said, "I'll come and see it tonight." He said, "Are you going to do some of that comedy stuff?" I said, "What comedy?" You know, he said, "When you..." I said, "Oh, I don't know." He said, "Well, I won't come to see your band." He said, "Your band's crap." He said, "But I want to hear you do some comedy." That's what he said to me.
Wow.
We were a good band, actually.
Yeah.
We were a good band. So I said, "Yeah, maybe, you know." And then I started thinking to myself, I thought, you know, there's a bit of a marketplace here for comedy. So I wrote, you know, some ideas.
So before that, you were just chatting.
Just singing,
just chatting, make people laugh.
If we had a problem, you have a laugh, you know. It all started, you know, when some people, "Can you turn the volume down? Can you turn the volume down?" Because we're playing, you know, rock and roll or whatever, you know, and then what's he going on about? He's going like that, so we're all going like this, getting down, you know. And then I said, you know, I said to the lads, I said, I think we should develop this a little bit, you know.
Okay.
Because then we'd earn more money, you know. So
you'd have a bit of a niche as well, right?
Yeah. So for the holiday parks and that we were doing at that time, I put together like a little show. So I was doing like caricatures of people. So I was being like Boy George, and I was doing Freddie Mercury, and we did, because we played all the Beatles songs and that. They all got the Sgt. Pepper's uniforms, as the Beatles, and so I'd be on stage doing a bit of, you know, doing something around.
So what was this called? This
it was called the Itsy Bitsy Band, is what we were called, and we were like a comedy show band, if you like, and played here in Milton Keynes quite a lot. Did a lot over here at Wolfton campus.
Wolfton.
Yeah.
It's a strange story. Hayley Proctor, who's been on the show, I think she was number 1 or 2 in Northampton. Her mum was she did all the dance classes, but her dad used to run that place. Was it the Pits? Do you remember it?
Graham.
That's her dad.
What, Graham is?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Ros.
So small world, but that was a place to go, wasn't it?
Well, it was. We used to do that.
Yeah.
You know, so we got off of this summer season. We decided to take it, but then the agency that we were working for dropped. They didn't secure the bookings with the venues.
Oh, God.
So we were down in Devon. I booked a farmhouse. We all stayed down there. And what happened is that I wasn't earning enough money, you know. So me and my buddy, the guitarist, who were plasterers, we used to drive up, do the shows, drive up, do a couple of days plastering, then drive back down again to Devon and Cornwall.
Just to make it work.
Yeah. You know, and, you know, you hear lots of stories of people of my generation that will do, you know, when I got married, you know, I was playing in a band. You know, we didn't have any money. You know, when I got married in January. Yeah. And we were, you know, the weather, we couldn't work because of the snow. And,
of course.
You know, so not only was I plastering where I could, I was also singing in a band and driving a taxi. To make ends meet. Yeah.
How often did you sing in a taxi? I can just imagine you go, "Hey, how's your day?" and you start singing.
I used to have a laugh with them.
I'm sure you did. Yeah.
You know, sometimes somebody get in the back of the taxi, you know, and they get in and I say, "Where to?" and they say so and so, and then I go like that, check the gear stick, mirror, like that. I said, "Excuse me," I said, "I only passed my test on Wednesday."
Just to wind them up.
Yeah.
Did you use that a lot?
Yeah, I do use it a lot. Yeah.
To get the reactions.
Yeah, and we used to get tips and that, you know. But my point is that, you know, in them days, I'm not saying there was more opportunity, but you have to look. You know, you want to drive an Aston Martin.
Yeah.
I drove an Aston Martin for 10 years.
Because even then, you're nowhere near. You're January, got married, got no work, dried up. You're still thinking Aston Martin in your head, future.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you get out of that? Was it luck? Did you go and make your own luck?
My guitarist friend said you have to make your own luck, you know. And, you know, I don't think I'm a lucky person. In fact, I think I'm more unlucky.
Oh, really?
I take after my granddad. He was unlucky. Bless him.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember we bought him some after 8 minutes for Christmas. He died at 7:30.
This is the sort of stuff you throw into your gigs, don't you?
Yeah, I do,
Love it.
Yeah.
So, when did Elvis come? Because you're a big
When I
fan
was
anyway.
12.
So 12.
Yeah, when I was at California Cliffs, I thought I'd go and sing a couple of Elvis songs.
Okay.
Badly.
And where did...
And they all clapped.
Did they?
Yeah, a bit like
and
karaoke.
Where did the Alvin Printwhistle bit come from? Because that's how we know each other. So you sang at a restaurant at the Red Hot World Buffet. No, it was the barn in Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
Me and my mate Gary. Gary said, let's go and watch this guy. We loved it. And then I made contact with you 10 years later saying, hey, you don't know us. We watched you. Right. When you're going again, we come to see you again. And I bumped into you again. So when did that start coming?
It started with the band, really.
Okay.
Yeah, with the band, you know. Obviously, I'm solo now. I still play in a band. I still have a band, an Elvis band.
Yeah.
And I played Elvis in the West End as well. So
did you?
Yeah, 18-piece band, singers, the whole bit.
Oh, but you're buzzing.
We toured and we did the stables over here at Wellington.
Amazing.
We did Brentwood Centre at Brentwood, and what's the one up here in Northampton? That one, Derngate. Did that. Yeah, we did all. I was doing it back then, you know. And it was great, you know. It was good, but I think that the Alvin Printwhistle thing is it started in the band. We all had stage names.
Okay, right, yeah.
I was Alvin Printwhistle, and
where did that name come from?
Well, my mate, we were getting ready to go on stage, you know, and I was putting my tie on him, and he said, "Come on, Alvin Printwhistle, let's go," you know. Just randomly off the shush. So I was Alvin Printwhistle, and here I am today, 40 years later.
100%. And do you think it sticks? It always does sound a little bit comedy, doesn't it? Printwhistle.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
It's light-hearted.
Yeah.
You know. So what I said then, I said, well, I'm Alvin Printwhistle, and then you're the guitarist. You can be Dwayne Pipe. So he was Dwayne Pipe. You know. Then the drummer, he was Rocky Terrain. Right, and our bass player was a big lad. He was about sort of 18 stone, and he was half a ton. You know, so and we had all these characters, and we got taken by. We had management now, you know.
And you'd use that when you're chatting.
Yeah.
This is this guy. This is that. Yeah.
We you know, when we started, we used to come out. We used to, you know, if you go on my website, alvin.co.uk.
I thought you were going to www it there.
Yeah, no, you don't.
No, you're too cool for that.
Yeah, it's alvin.co.uk.
Yeah. There's
pictures of that on my website of the band and that, you know. And we used to do this thing where we used to open up with the searchers, walk in the room and needles and pins, like, you know. And there's a bit in the walk in the room. So we're all, you know, they're playing the guitars and we're all doing a bit of choreography, you know, and I'm singing and, you know, doing all the movements, you know. And there's a bit, it's called the middle eight, where you get down. I get down on my knees, you know. And, hey, baby, it's a dream come true. Walking red light. And then I'm down on my knees, and East Wind's guitar hits me on the back of the head, and I fall off the stage, you see. Very slapstick, you know.
Yeah.
And people think, like, what's going on here then? You know, and then I'm trying to get myself back up on the stage, a bit like Normal Wisdom. You know? And I'll pull hold of his trousers come down, and he's got stockings and suspenders on there, you see. Okay. And I say, you know, how long have you been wearing them? I didn't know that. He said, I've had a bit wearing them since my wife found them in the back of the car. You know, so it went from there, and it kind of escalated to me coming out doing silly stuff. So that's really what.
Did you drive that, the humour side? That was you.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. The guitarist, he ran his own successful with Plasterers, doing well.
Yeah.
The drummer was the coach driver.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he's the coach driver, and you know, you know, all good eggs. You know, the bass player was a bit lost sometimes. You know, he didn't know what he wanted to be.
Yeah.
You know, where he wanted to be. You know. But, you know, they worked. So me and the guitarist, the band was a partnership now. We formed a partnership.
Yeah.
So we made sure that we could keep our bass player and our drummer. We paid them a retainer.
Yeah, okay.
You know.
So when you start looking at money, because you want an Aston Martin. This is part of your dream. How do you start saving? What did you work harder, smart? What's your plan in your head? How do you do that?
Well, so basically, so I was earning, say, £50 a night in the band, £60 a
Yeah.
night. And then, we used to get lots of inquiries, for people that couldn't afford us, really. We were sort of charging money,
Yeah.
so they couldn't afford us. So, and then one day someone said, look, I can't afford your band, but you do a great Elvis, and we like what you do. Would you come and do our party?
Okay.
And
We've got waivers on the show.
Yeah.
Do you know that person?
no, he does.
Chris Greg, hang on, let's have a look. That's your child and your dad. Okay, that's allowed.
Yeah. So I was earning 56. So he said, would you come and do my party for us? I said, yeah. So he said, how much do you charge? I said, 60 quid.
Okay.
He said, that's fine, so I went to the party, and then there was somebody that owned a pub, or was a landlord of a pub in Wellingborough.
Yeah.
And I can remember this because this is the question you've asked me.
Pivotal part of hang on, here we go.
So he said, would you come and do my pub? I said, yeah, I would. He said, how much are you? I thought, 60 quid, I've got to get it when. £80.
Just threw it in there.
Yeah, he said, yeah, that's fine. So I go and do the pub, and then...
and this is just you now?
This is just me as a
Just
solo.
you,
I'm
okay.
still playing in the band,
Yeah.
but I'm doing some solo work as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting £80,
Just got a
as
pay
opposed
rise.
to 60.
Yeah.
And then, so business is supply and demand, as you know.
Yeah, of course.
So I thought, what should we do here now? Should I keep doing a solo? I'll have, because I like the band. We were all good buddies,
good chats, yeah.
And then at the pub there was a guy there. His name was Pete. I remember him like he was yesterday, and he was the entertainment secretary of the Stony Stratford Working Men's Club.
Oh, hello. It sounds important.
It was important to me then. And he said, will you come and do the club? I said, he gave me a date, and I looked at my diary, and I was already booked with a band. Now, if somebody rings me and I'm booked, I'm really sorry, I'm booked.
Yeah.
For some reason or another, I said, Pete, I'd love to do it for you, mate, but I'm £120 to book me.
Oh, hello.
He said,
Supply
yeah, that's
and demand,
all right.
right? Yeah.
That's all right. I then saw the future, really. I thought, so I sold out, if you like. I sold out for backing tracks.
Yeah.
But I had the band. We formed the big band, the orchestra, and all that.
So you doubled the money coming in, and you had less to pay out because you didn't need the band.
Yeah. So I was putting money by, and just taking stock of my finances, really.
Yeah.
General financial planning.
And what were you like with your finances? Because a lot of business owners are terrible.
I'm not very good at the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
But I do keep a book,
Yeah. Do you know where it is?
Yeah. But as far as my business goes, I do take it seriously, and I'm pretty good, I think.
So when that happens...
I'm in show business.
Yeah. It's a business, right?
Yeah.
So how long did it take to say to the band that, hey...
Probably about a year.
And did you just say... How was that conversation? What did you say to them?
Not good.
Was it not?
No, but there was another guy in the wings who was quite funny and quite a good singer.
So did you suggest he could be your guy?
I spoke to him first. I said, look, I'm thinking of leaving the band. And he used to come and watch the band. He loved the band.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, I'd be up for it. So he joined the band.
So are all the friends, are they still friends?
I'm still friends with the drummer. We don't see much of each other.
Yeah.
But me and the guitarist, we are still good friends.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. And we still...
So you doubled your money. You're gigging. That's your only job now?
Yep.
What next?
Well, the next thing is I was starting to do... I was getting booked to do like music weekenders, Elvis weekend or whatever. And, and because I perform Butlins and Pumpkins and the holiday parks, and I could see people coming on holiday. And then they were doing like weekend things. And I thought, you know what, I could do that myself.
So almost get a venue.
Yep.
Take the risk.
Yeah.
So there's X amount of seats.
Yep.
I'll promote it.
Yeah.
Did you have a team around you? Anyone?
Yeah,
useful?
I had a team. Yeah, I had a PA and my wife who were doing it all together.
How important is a PA? Because I remember when I was in a job.
Yeah.
And I went on a holiday, and they called me into a meeting. They said, "Can we have a meeting?" I was like, "All right, cool. This sounds a bit serious. What's up?" Like we've got Jackie and Laura, I remember the name, started. We just want to say they're not your PAs. I was like, what do you mean? Like, they're here to go and do this work, not to do your work. So within about a day, Jackie was doing all my stuff. And actually today, with my business, Jackie does a lot of my stuff. Right, yeah. She just loves it.
Yeah.
And a PA, or she's not my PA, but she's like that.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can get bogged down with the paperwork.
100%.
You know, and you know, like the advertising. You know, doing the sort of the promotion stuff. You know, I'm, you know, I can identify where I need things. You know, nowadays, you know, because I'm older, you know, more established.
Yeah.
I don't worry. I do it all myself because the business is now smaller.
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm older.
Yeah.
You know, and as you know, because I was very unwell 10 years ago.
That's right.
That's when I decided that how much do I really need? And then there comes a point in your life where you decide to make life-changing decisions. You know.
And was that 10 years ago?
That was 10 years ago.
Because you had a catering business as well, didn't you? And I was quite surprised. But I think when you're doing your gig and then it's connected to who people need to eat, there's opportunity. And you go, well, actually, that company can do that, and that's your company. Is that how it works? How did that happen?
And supply the marquee.
Oh, did you have
and
your
have
own
the chocolate fountain?
Because this is
and have all the decorations, and have all the table displays.
Crazy. Do you remember the first time that happened?
One-stop shop. I remember doing it. I remember, you know, it was, you know, it's busy, pretty hard work.
Yeah.
It's hard work sometimes getting the work because there's so much competition.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've always taken competitions as being healthy. You just got to do the job better than anyone else.
And keep improving, right?
Yeah. But, so, yeah, we you know, it was going quite well.
How long were you doing the catering side of that business?
Probably about 10 years, yeah.
And so do you think two different things, you've got, right, I've got to perform and I've got to set up all this catering, or did you give someone that role to do the
when I
food?
got ill, I decided to sort of just not pass it over as such, but I sort of gave away the contacts that I had for that.
Yeah.
I didn't sell it to anyone. I just, you know, it kind of dissolved itself in a way.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
I just stopped taking the work.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I don't regret it.
No, of course not.
You know, and I had not been well, I might have been doing more.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But you know, and as I say, this is about business and people's businesses and what they do and how they make it work for them.
How long did it take you to save up to get the Aston Martin? And when you did get it, did you... I always envisage people that buy a brand new car, do they just wallop down the cash and go, hey,
no,
dress up and get my new shoes on, I'm going to...
No, you get a loan.
No, you got a loan. You got a loan.
I got a loan. Got a loan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a DB7 first, which was more of a classic car now, and I was going to spend money. In fact, it ended up on Wheeler Dealers.
What, the actual car?
Yeah, the actual car.
What, your car?
My Aston Martin.
Oh, did it?
The
Okay.
first one I had. Yeah.
How did that feel? Because I think there's sometimes, you know, people talk about fame and money and TV and all of that. And when they get it, there's that like whole, oh, well, actually, it weren't as sexy, or it weren't as... where was you at?
Well, for me, what you say is correct. You know, some people get famous, and when we did the West End, me and one of the singers were talking sort of the next day, actually, we went and had a coffee and that. And we said, well, where do we go from here? You know,
is that the mountain? Is it that?
Yes, the mountain. You're there. You know, I could tell you about. I'll tell you something else in a minute. But where do you go? And then you understand how people who are really famous can lose it big time.
Yeah.
Because they've been exhausted. You know, one of my friends was friends with Jerry Halliwell's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Halliwell.
Yeah.
When the Spice Girls became famous and she was earning the money, she'd go and buy a Mercedes. They said, no, have it. Drive our Mercedes.
Yeah.
Drive our, you know, have our Rolex.
Yeah.
Just wear it, please. So you're not even spending your money because it's being given to you on a plate. You know, you turn up there and, you know, I noticed that since I put my feet up, I get treated better when I turn up. I get looked after by the, look, this is your dressing room, this is, we're going to do this, do you want something to eat? And, you know, that's a bit of a reflection. You know, if you go out there feeling cheap, you will be cheap. You can be inexpensive.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
So that feeling when you had the car?
When I got the first Aston Martin, I was it was an older one. I was trying to sort of do it up a little bit, you know, and think, you know, make it a bit classic.
Okay.
And then the guy that I always wanted, I wanted the Daniel Craig DB9.
Yeah, DB9. Yeah.
Yeah. The
and the body coming out of the beach.
Well, no. No.
It's famous for that, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I wanted the DB9.
Yeah.
And
so it's funny, you wanted the Aston Martin, but already you want
the
something
next one
else.
up. Yeah. And I liked in the DB5, which was a lot of money to buy. You know, that's what they had in the Bond films. They had like a cherry leather interior, you know. And when I used to get the Aston service, I'd say to the guys over there, I'd like a DB9 with that cherry, you know, and that metallic gun grey, you know, that they had. And one day it was near Christmas actually. My birthday's near Christmas.
Oh, when's your birthday?
December 30th, just after.
Oh, 30th. Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So if you want to know,
yeah, let's go for it.
I got a phone call and he said, "Oh, your car's in." I said, "What car?" He said, "Yeah, the DB9. It's gunmetal grey, metallic." He said, "It's got a burgundy interior,
Which is the cherry, is it?
but it's not the cherry one.
Oh.
If you want that, you'd have to pay extra for that." And so I said to my wife, I said, "Well, let's go and have a look at it, you know."
Yeah, at least look.
Yeah. So I sat in it and I sort of, you know, I thought, yeah. I said, I've got to have this car.
It's like the puppy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Take the puppy home.
Puppy dog sale,
Yeah.
Got to have this car, you know. And so she said to me, I'll show you. Oh, there it is. It's a screen.
Oh, it's on the it's on
Lovely.
the phone. So they sold you.
Could you see the number plate?
Yeah.
GI Blue.
What's GI Blue? Is that a song?
Yeah, of course. It's Elvis's film.
Oh, GI Blue, the film. I loved his music rather than his sort of Vegas days.
Well, I'll talk to you about that in a minute.
There you go.
I've got a few things. I could be here all
You could
day.
be here all day. So you got the cars, but you don't have one now, do you?
No. I've
more practical.
Yeah. You couldn't get. I couldn't get my golf clubs in it.
Oh, well, there you go.
I know. You think you would, because James Bond, when he played Goldfinger, he got his golf.
That was a fix, wasn't it?
Yeah, he got his golf clubs in there, but I couldn't get mine in.
Blagging it.
So I should be making notes. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I've
forgotten now, haven't you?
Yeah, I've forgotten what I was going to talk about.
That's it. So the catering business is gone. You've saved enough money. You've got some. Do you have to get another loan to get the extra?
Yes, I did.
Aston Martin?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Do you feel different when you pull up to a hotel, or you always imagine you're going to go in your Aston Martin in a hotel, right? I don't know why. Pull up and they take.
Yeah, it's not. It's pretty to drive, and it was great to turn up in it.
Yeah.
In business now, let's talk about business again, because I'm trying to keep on the business track for you guys.
Yeah.
When you've got a nice car like an Aston Martin, and you turn up to see a client, whatever, that client's going to be thinking one or two things. I'm paying for that.
Yeah.
Do I want to do business with him? Or he looks very successful. I want to do business with him.
So do you think if 10 people are having the same meeting, where do you think they do things?
I think it would probably... It depends on your character. Do you want me to give your listeners, your viewers, a business tip?
Well, yeah, this is why we're here. Yeah. Don't get an Aston Martin.
Okay.
What's the tip, Alvin?
The tip is, right...
What's this tip?
And I learned this many years ago from the fella that owned the music shop. He said to me, if you ever want to sell something, this is probably the most important thing that I'm going to tell you today. I'm showing this and I'm not even going to charge you for it.
This is free advice.
Free advice.
Chris, listen up.
Think about the 3 Ps.
3 Ps.
The 3 Ps, all right? The first P is the product.
Yes.
Okay? No matter what you're selling, you've got to have faith in that product, and you've got to know that it's a good product.
Yeah.
All right? That's the first P. The second P is the personality, yours. So, we've come here today. I'm talking to you. You like me. I like you. We probably do business together.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Not sure about Chris.
We don't know about Chris.
No, but
we're never supposed to talk about him, but I'll talk about him every time.
Okay.
We'll work on him.
So
personality.
Yeah, so personality is important. Do you know when you meet someone, you think, I'm not sure if I like her, I'm not sure if I like him. You won't normally conclude successful business with that person.
Yeah.
Generally, there are exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
And the other P is always going to be the price.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't do things cheaply. I do things that are inexpensive, but they're not cheap.
Yeah, I don't like the word cheap. I will do that cheap because then you're like, well, I feel like I'm going to give me a discount.
Inexpensive. Yeah, it's inexpensive. Yeah. So my point was say, remember the three Ps, right? So if I'm selling this phone to you now, and I've said this is great phone, takes pictures, you get internet, you know, you can text, you can't speak on it, so there's no signal. No, but you know, and you're laughing now, you like me, you know, you think, oh, he's a good old boy, he's telling me about that phone, what it can do for him, and it's now going to be, and it's £200. If you haven't got £200, you can't afford it, right? But you may already have an idea that it could be £300, or it might be £150. So I say to you, after I've satisfied the three Ps, where do you go now if you don't want to buy it? What can you bail out on?
Don't know.
You can't, can you?
No.
Because I've satisfied the fact that you like the product. Yeah. You like me, so I've not upset you in any way. And then we've got this phone, which is, the price is probably, you've only got 150 quid, it's £200. Yeah. So, but if I say to you, well, I know you got 150 quid, but if I could arrange for you to have that £50 over a period of
sold, not done.
6 months, you know, can you afford to pay, 12 quid a month?
So the point with the Aston Martin then is, if you're likeable and the product, it doesn't matter, does it?
Well, the product, you see, was the Aston Martin.
Yeah.
The guy that I dealt with was a good guy.
Yeah.
It came down to the price again. Could I afford it?
Yeah.
And the way I afforded it, by getting a loan for it. That's how I did it.
Sold.
Yeah. I mean, some people might listen to this or watch this and think, yeah, what a pillock.
No, not at all. But there's another thing you do as well. You take people, you're such a fan of Elvis, that you take people over to America.
Yeah.
And you go to all the hot spots, don't you?
I do.
Just tell us quickly about that. Are you still doing it? I think you are.
I'm not. I'm basically what happened. I'm going back now to 2007, I guess. The first time I went to, I was out for dinner with some friends, and they said, "Have you been to Graceland?" I said, "Yeah, I have. I've been a couple of times." You know? Oh, we'd love to go there. I said, "Well, do you want me to arrange something? We'll go out there." So it started with 4 of us. No, it started with 6 of us, and it went to 8. Then I think I took 30 people on the first trip.
Did you? Wow.
Yeah, and we, we had other people when I come back. Oh, you've been to Memphis? You've been? Yeah. So we started talking about, Memphis, and talk to people like yourself or whatever. Oh, I love Elvis. I like to go there. Well, I'm going if you want to come. Really? Yeah. How much?
And
is
you've
it?
already got the knowledge.
So
how much? Yeah.
How much is it? The product is Presley, Memphis.
Yeah.
The personality is me.
Yeah,
I'm going to take them and host them. The price, 3 Ps come into play, and that's I did that then up till about 2000, and just post pandemic. So, what was the last? What was pandemic? 2000.
21.
So my last tour was 22.
Yeah.
I did South Africa with a group last year, doing a cruise this year.
Yeah, great.
Next year I'm performing in the Caribbean, and I'm getting groups together for that. Yeah.
So you've done the James Bond. You've gone to that night. Do you remember going to that really nice holiday that you've seen on James Bond?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. How long did that take? From a child, if you like, from an 18-year-old.
Probably 20 years. Yeah. Maybe. When it was quite nice really, because when I went to Memphis, I went to Miami first. I planned it because Elvis performed at the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami with Frank Sinatra. Yeah. So it's a good little stop before we go down to Memphis. But that hotel is also famous for the outside of the James Bond Goldfinger film when he's playing cards with Goldfinger's playing cards, and he's up in the room and that was filmed at Fontainebleau.
So you're kind of ticking it all off at the same time? Yeah, I ticked all the
boxes, yeah.
Amazing. You bought some soundtracks, didn't you? I just noticed before the show.
I didn't bring them intentionally.
Well, they're on your phone. I mean,
they are on my phone.
That's a good product.
Yes.
You knew they were there. Yeah. Is there anything in terms of people in business that you'd like to, what you've learned in your career and in your business that you would, I know you've got the 3 Ps, but is there anything else for someone starting out today? It doesn't have to be entertainment, but what would you give them as some inspiration to be like, do you know what, if I was to do it again, I'd keep this, not do this, but what would you
I think sometimes it depends. Age comes into it quite a bit.
Yeah.
When you're young, you're just leaving college, school, university, whatever. You've got age on your side, and I had age on my side. I could make some mistakes.
Yeah, and still go. Yeah,
it wouldn't cost me long term. I think that if you've got your mind set on a business, then go for it. Give it 5 years.
Yeah.
And you'll know after 5 years, if that business isn't doing anything, then it will never do anything. You need 5 years of business.
Yeah, keep it going.
Yeah. My incentive is that, my dad said to me, and he never took his own advice. He said, if you really want something, don't work for somebody else. Work for yourself.
And you're very glad you did that, right?
I'm glad I did that. Yeah, because if my boss is earning £100, I'm only getting £60 of it.
Yeah.
Whereas I could be earning that £100.
Amazing. You've got something on your phone. I'd like you just to finish off with a little tune, if you don't mind, because that's why you're here, and I don't get to pay for it. It's amazing. It's amazing. And where are you? You're still doing 3 or 4 gigs a week.
I am. Yeah.
What is your age now?
Can I share that?
You don't have to share it.
I can tell you.
Go on then.
I'm 65.
So you're still banging it out 4 times a week.
I'm not going to retire. See, that's the other thing. I mentioned that to people.
Yeah.
Don't. If you work for yourself, listen, if you're a builder and a bricklayer, you can't keep going at 65.
No.
But what you can do is you can build your own team over those years.
Yes.
And you can get people to work for you and go and oversee them jobs. A builder might say, well, I don't trust him to do the bricklaying, he's awful. Well, don't employ him, employ someone that you can have faith in.
So you've got like a talent business, haven't you? Is that, what would you call it, a talent business?
It's an agency, entertainment agency.
Yeah, so actually, if you want to do 2 nights a week, or 2 times a month, you've got people that you're promoting out there.
Well, what happens out there, some of the venues I do and other venues, they'll come to me and say, we had you last year as Elvis and you were great, and we're looking to do something else this year. What have you got anyone else you can recommend? Then I send them a flyer and say, well, I actually have a very good, if you like tribute artists, I have a very good tribute artist agency.
Yes.
From Michael Jackson to George Michael to ABBA to Freddie Mercury. I've got all them on my book. They all work with me.
So that's kind of like not an exit, but you can still have...
Well, that was the idea. When I turned 42, Elvis died at 42, I thought, well, I'm not going to keep this up now. When they're going to book me. And you got a lot of these young Elvis guys that says what Elvis says it on the tin.
Yeah.
And some of them, I don't go to see them, so I don't get the time really. But some of them, I've seen footage, and some of them are pretty good, There's some awful ones as well, but some of them are pretty good, and they're doing what it says on the tin.
Yes.
So, at my age now, I can't be Elvis at 42. And in fact, I make a joke of it, because all the costumes and that I wear are all replicated, all worn as Elvis wore them,
Yeah, of course.
And I'll say, when Elvis wore this particular costume, he was 28. And I said, look at me, I think I wear this very well.
Amazing.
Make a joke of it,
Thanks for coming on. If you could play a little 30 seconds, that would be amazing. You've got your little phone there. The website's alvinprintwhistle.co.uk.
No. Alvin. Alvin.co.uk.
Oh, that's even better, isn't it?
Facebook is Alvin Printwhistle.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Come on then, let's have it, and we'll finish up. Here we go. You can't see. I feel like you wear glasses. Do you wear glasses?
Do I wear glasses? Yeah, I do.
You can't see the screen.
Yeah. No, I can see the screen.
Oh, you can?
No, I'm just thinking...
I've started doing it, that's why, yeah.
Why don't I do... what was the first... The first song I sung was Are You Lonesome Tonight?
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I love that song.
So I'll give that a little go. Just cut
why not? Thank you very much.
Okay. Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? Are you sorry we drifted apart? Does your memory stray to a bright summer day when I kissed you and called you sweetheart? Do the chairs in your parlor seem empty and bare? Do you gaze at your doorstep and picture me there. Is your heart filled with pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome tonight? Thank you very much, baby.
Amazing.
I wonder if
the world staged it.
Yeah. I nearly said, you gaze at your bald head and wish you had hair. But I didn't say that.
Thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome, mate.
Big respect. I remember seeing you, I think it was 25 years ago. You're still funny. You're still an amazing singer. And just do what you love. I think it's been amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, man.